What if you are an artist and you don't know it? Welcome to A Better Philosophy Toward Art. I'm your host, Tushar Anand Madhu. This is episode 2. In the last section, we spoke about defining art and making our own definitions towards art. Today, we will speak about the mechanics of art. We've all heard from people that art just happens, music just happens. But if we ever ask them for an explanation, they're short of words. In reality, there is a process to it. There's a process to art, and it's a mechanical process. I say mechanical as opposed to flow because there are steps, and mechanics is all about steps and process and an output. When the output is a work of art, there are a few steps we are going to follow to reach the output. I've divided these steps into 3 parts: creating art, making art, and doing art. Now, not everything leads to the same outcome, but each of these are a process of their own. For example, creating art and making art are 2 separate things. I will distinguish between these terms. We use in common day-to-day language with our friends or our close ones that I'm making something today or I'm creating something today, and it feels the same. But when you actually get into it and distinguish these 2 terms, specifically for the context of materializing a work of art, we realize that any work of art has steps behind it. So the perspective that I want to put forward is that art is a process, and it can be mechanical to a certain extent too. So let's talk about creating art. Why do we create art? And what's the use of creating art? Do we think about creating art, or does it just happen? In my experience, creation is a result of a outwardly force, which I'm going to refer to as a tingle. It could be also an itch, it could be an urge, but it's something that has provoked us to express ourselves. And that's the main reason why we create art, as a medium to express something that has provoked us. We can create art in multiple mediums, in multiple forms, in multiple ways, which means that we can express ourselves doing a bunch of things. You might have seen so many Instagram profiles in which people are expressing themselves in different ways. Some people are beatboxing, some people are singing, some people are rock climbing, some people are kayaking. So art can be seen in sports, art can be seen in classical dance forms, art can be seen even in academics, in literature, poetry, books, whatnot. But when do you call it a creation? I feel personally it's a creation when you act on this impulse, which is personal to a great extent, and it provokes self-expression. So self-expression in its own definition clears out that it's the expression of the self, and the self is you, unique. So it's a unique expression. When you express yourself for the first time, you probably don't even know how the expression is going to manifest. You don't know how you're going to experience things. which is what I am calling a creation. You're creating an experience. Expression crafts creation. This is my saying or motto for this podcast episode. Expression crafts experience. So as you create art, you're actually creating experiences for yourself. And in these experiences, you go on in an adventure or you embark a journey. But basically, it starts with a tingle. The next perspective is, as humans, our physical body is our workshop, and our body is also our tool. So we experiment on ourselves through our senses, through the mind, and the body is the tool to manifest our ideas, thoughts, feelings, and expressions into the world. This is what is called creating art. And people have done it for centuries. Sometimes the expressions have been so magnificently strong that they reach us even today. What is a better philosophy towards creating art? So often in our lives, we go through days, weeks, and years without realizing that some things are calling us to create something. We feel that we are not artists, but we might be skipping the most important sensations in our days or in our bodies that are provoking us to express. It's a part of us. It's become a habit of ours to neglect and negate these sensations. And it's actually the sensations, it's the tingle which I'm calling, that helps us create art. So when we are not aware of this tingle, when we do not know how or when or in which part of our day this tingle is coming to us, we are not going to understand where the inspiration for our creation is lying. Hence, the better philosophy towards creating art is slowing down. When we slow down and observe in our day that here's where I am feeling something, and this is how it's impacting me. Probably that could be in a metro station, it could be when we are sitting inside a metro, it could be in a quiet garden, it could be at your study table and desk when you're journaling, it could be in your dreams, it could be while traveling, it could be while sitting beside your grandmother, it could be at any moment or instance in your day, in your life, in your week. But when you find that, you will realize that there is space for creating art, which is your own and which can have your own definition too. Art, which we covered in the previous section, does not have a pre-definition. It is not exclusively defined by society, and there is scope for defining it in your own way and carving it according to your own life situation and life journey. Because in a very basic form and structure, art is self-expression. Awareness is your best friend and worst enemy. If you are aware of your circumstances and your strengths and weaknesses, you're going to feel the tingle and you can create art. If you run away from awareness, you might realize later on that you had been getting the tingle, like Spider-Man found his powers. The powers may be within your reach, But if you've been avoiding it, you might never notice it. I hope you enjoyed this podcast episode on self-expression and creation of art. In the next podcast episode, I'll be speaking about making art. Be differentiating between creating art and making art. And we will continue this adventure of a better philosophy towards art. Thank you. Thank you for listening to a Better Philosophy Towards Art podcast. This podcast has been crafted at Manic Pod Studios in Chembur, Mumbai. Your sound engineers are Rohit Das and Mainak Chakraborty. Your producers are Vedant Naik and Arnav Dogra. Don't forget to check out my Instagram page in the description below and also give Manic Pod a follow for more fun podcasting content. See you in the next episode.